Welcome to Grateful to Be Able, where we shine a light on the people, stories, and ideas shaping our communities. Today, we are honored to be joined by someone at the heart of our school system, our superintendent. Whether you're a parent, a teacher, a student, or a community member, you've likely felt the impact of decisions made at the district level. But who is this person behind the decisions? And how do they stay connected to the people they serve? In this episode, we're going to dive into the heart of leadership, hear about the challenges and celebrations of running a school district, and learn what inspires and motivates our guests each day. Settle in, you don't want to miss this one. We're with Dr. Robbie Lanham, Humphreys County School Superintendent. Welcome, Robbie.
Oh, thank you.
We're so glad you came today.
Yes, glad to be here.
So we have a few questions for people who don't know you, and maybe you could just enlighten them a little. We want to know a little bit about you. So can you tell us a little about your background and what brought you to the superintendent role?
Yes. 1994, I started pre-K in this building. It was in the basement where the library here at McCune High School used to be. My mom would drive me to school at first, and I got to ride a bus and got to be part of the school system. Only ever been a part of the Humphreys County School System all the way through pre-K. Then when I graduated, or when I got to high school, I really found my way. I remember, Dr. Honey standing up there in front of all of us first day of school freshman year, just saying, what happens next is up to you. You're going to be afforded every opportunity, but what happens next is up to you. And I really had a passion for technology. There were certain teachers I had that really left large impacts, like Mr. Toline, the business teacher, left a large impact on me growing up. And then when I got to college, at some point it hit me that I really wanted to be a part of or be like a blessing to those that blessed me along the way. And I felt like that was the school system. And so I was really lucky to get a job. I applied everywhere, believe it or not. I applied in Shelby County schools. I applied in Metro Nashville. And by happen chance, this was always where I wanted to be. My dream job was back where I graduated from. Miss Rose Ellen Barrett was retiring, and that created me a job. And when I got hired, you were lucky to get a teaching job. It wasn't like it is currently where it's like sometimes staffing is really hard for certified educators. But when I got hired, it was extremely competitive and there just weren't a lot of positions. So I was blessed and fortunate to have a job. My wife had just graduated. She was my fiance at the time. She had just graduated. We were looking to start a family somewhere. And she worked as an assistant in the counseling office for a year and went back and got her teaching certificate. And then she started teaching the next year. Taught for 4 or 5 years. Then moved to the middle school, be Coach Coleman's assistant principal for 3 or 4 years. And then Dr. Honey retired, which was a unique thing. Not too many people can probably say that. They replaced their high school principal. And so he retired after being the longest serving administrator in the school system, 23 years. And I was blessed to have this job here for 7 years. And loved every minute of working here. And then in September, I was selected superintendent, started October. And it's been a learning curve every day. It's a unique experience. I used to deal with a lot of, you saw kids a lot, and you enjoyed all that, like overcoming problems and how to solve things, and didn't really deal with a lot of money and finances. And in this different role, it's a lot more budgets and numbers and making things work at the end of the day. So that's kind of how I ended up here. I hope to be here for a long time. I have kids in the school system. I have a daughter that's going to be starting high school in 6th grade, which kind of a unique experience having a middle schooler. And then I have a son that's going to be in 3rd grade and deal with the 3rd grade retention law and the pressures of passing a test to get promoted.
Right. So what is your vision for the district this year?
Well, we kind of had a little tagline. When I got elected, I thought it'd be a good time to rebrand and rethink what we do. And so our new tagline is every student, every opportunity, every day. So as they progress, our goal is to expose them. The pendulum kind of swings in education from 4-year degrees to trade schools. And when I was in school, you were encouraged to get a 4-year degree. That was the path, go to college. Now, what we're encouraging kids to do is enter the trades because we know there's a huge labor shortage,
Right.
and that's where the money is. So we're trying to do more of that. So what you're seeing a lot from the school system now is like here at McCune High School and at Waverly Central, shop classes that can count as their math program. A lot more hands-on things to kind of address the labor shortage that we're seeing in our county and all.
I'm so glad we come back to that because that is so true that there's money to be made in those skills.
Yes, and we have a lot of kids taking advantage of that and trying to get young men. It's pretty easy to get them excited about all that. It's our new challenge has been trying to get young ladies excited about all that. All those too, because when we talk like the national stake for the maintenance control and process control program, they're like, the one thing that we need is more females in that industry. And so we've taken a lot of groups to like Jones Plastic and different plants to see what the job actually looks like. And, so we hope to kind of build that base there too.
Right. How do you plan to build trust and strong relationships with your students, staff, and your community?
Well, I'm not as connected to the kids as I once was. It used to be every day you come to school and you saw 500 kids, you give them high fives in the hallway. Everybody kind of, that's the principle. When you're superintendent, the only time anybody ever knows who you are is when it comes to snow days. And then it's like, they start thinking, okay, this is the guy that controls that. And some of the kids from McEwen that had known me, they even send me pictures on my Facebook of all the roads that have snow and water all over. So I appreciate that. But I think to me, the key to making it all work is just being honest with people about where you're at, where the school system we're succeeding, where are we struggling. Because I really think, in education, it's always an improvement science. Every year you're trying to be better than you were last year. And sometimes the frustrating part is that nothing is ever perfect. But I think that as long as you're honest with people about, hey, we tried this, it didn't work, so we're going to go back and rethink this, that people say, okay, I mean, you can't always talk about everything that happens when we have 530 employees, you got 2,600 students, you got all the 2,600 students, all the 530 employees, all have a unique personality. And so when you try to put all that into the four walls in a school, conflict happens, problems arise, and you got to work through those. But I feel like as long as you're upfront with people about, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is why I think that. And then you provide them the opportunity to say, hey, that's not maybe how I would do it. Or, you got to be willing to hear the other side and then you got to do what you think's right.
I think that's what makes you great, Robbie. I really do.
Right. Because I do want to hear if something goes wrong in the school. I mean, I want parents to contact the principal, contact the teacher, go through the channel, don't call me immediately. But I do want to hear from things and try to improve processes to make it better for everybody.
That's right. So let's move on to academic success and innovation. What are your thoughts on improving student achievement and closing those learning gaps?
Okay, in public education in Tennessee, we get graded two ways. You get graded on achievement and you get graded on growth. And achievement is basically like where you're at compared to the other districts in the state of Tennessee, just flat out numbers. And growth is more of a prediction of where the kids started, how much did they improve based on comparable groups around the state. And so oftentimes we look at growth because that's the most unique way of looking at it. Like the teacher had these kids, they were a little bit behind. Now they're ahead of other kids that were behind at this same grade. The teacher made great growth. And we all celebrate that. But truly, what's the most important thing is achievement. How do the kids that graduate from the Humphreys County School System compare to kids that graduate from the Williamson County School System or, other school systems? That's truly what matters because when our kids leave our school, where do they rank in society? So to me, even though I was a high school principal, the most important fundamental years is that K-3, K-5 grade span because if you don't learn those fundamental skills, it's an expounding factor of you continue to get farther behind each year. And so we spend a lot of time with principals, and we're going to spend a lot more time next week as principals come back to work talking about our focus is on that K-3 grade span, making sure that that's as high as it can be to try to push the needle forward. And, we think that will expound itself out. If we can get them ready there, they'll be ready. We do a pretty good job, really good job in our district of third grade retention. We have, if you compare our third grade retention rates to surrounding counties of comparable economic disparity and things, we're very, very competitive. But that doesn't mean we can't do more and move the needle farther. So that's the goal.
Right. So how do you plan to support teachers and staff in their profession?
Well, I think one thing that could improve is remembering that, as every school system has principals, superintendents, supervisors at the board office, every year that you're a superintendent is 1 year more that you weren't in a classroom. And so you get disconnected from what it's really like every day to walk into a room and have 20 to 30 children expecting you to have all the answers from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. And oftentimes I think what educators just want to hear is that this is hard. We know this is hard. We're here to help you. And things happen. Teachers are real people too. Like, I mean, they have grief, they have frustration, they have families, they have marriages, like they have a ton of commitments themselves. And sometimes you got to step back and not just look at the quantitative number of where this was. Remember that this was a real person in this room, and nobody signed up to be I mean, we don't have bad teachers, but nobody signed up to be a bad teacher. And so it's our job to try to like figure out where we're at, what can we do to improve and work through those things, because teaching really is a hard profession. And every year it seems like, and I'm not saying it's a district fault, because really oftentimes it comes from national down to us.
Right.
But every year you add one more thing. And one more thing may just be one more thing to you, but for the person that's having to do it, that's the 101st thing of the 100 they had to do. So really trying to eliminate barriers of the one more thing and protect the teacher's time teaching kids.
And you being in the classroom, that helps you with this vision.
Yes. And like when I was principal, I always made the point that I want to go in that room and I want to teach. Sometimes teachers didn't want to give you the keys to their car, but I want to go in there and experience what you're experiencing. Because I mean, you often hear the frustration of, this group needs this group needs that, teacher trying to balance it. Well, if I'm expected to lead the teacher, I need to model to the teacher how I would tackle it. And then sometimes though, I go in there and learn, hey, there's more to this than what I thought. We do need to rethink this and try to come up with some solutions to help everybody.
Wow. How important is it for family and community involvement in student success?
Yeah, if there's one thing I could encourage families to do, it's that if you have a kid in high school, go to the parent-teacher conference. In the K-5 space, you hardly can't keep them out in there. I mean, they show up, they're there, especially like kindergarten, first grade. I mean, when my son was in kindergarten last, I mean, we show up, there's 20 kids in the classroom, there's 19 parents there. Okay, great. That's what we all want. But now, I've had parent-teacher conferences at the high school where 300 kids and we have 4 parents show up. And so, and some of that probably is, the time and people work and all that. But if there's one thing I encourage you to do is, I know your high school child doesn't want you coming. And and oftentimes the 5 parents that showed up to a high school parent-teacher conference were the 5 kids that were going to be valedictorian. So we want you here.
Right.
Teachers need to hear from you here, because you may hear it in everywhere else that teachers or that parents and community doesn't support the schools, but that's different. I always felt like as a principal, superintendent, when I communicate with a parent, it's almost always, hey, we hear you, we'll help you. So we're blessed to have that. We want more. And I think COVID wasn't the best for parental involvement, because every door got locked, and then with security, everything's locked up like Fort Knox, and all that's great. But the days the schools are open, we really want the parents to be here for parent-teacher conference.
We're all on the same team.
Yes.
Aren't we? We want the same thing for your child. We want them to grow and be the best they can be.
Yes, and when something's happening at home, we want to know. I mean, we don't want to be in your personal details, but if there was a situation that, caused your child some stress or anxiety, and they come to school and we, say, hey, we get on to them and they respond in a way, if we know the details surrounding some of that, we can oftentimes prevent situations before they happen.
So how can community members stay informed and involved?
Well, the school district is really trying to upbeat the social media. So we're trying to get things out there for you as often as we can. And hopefully that's an improvement for really a lot of the parents are my age, in that 30 to 45 year, probably 25 to 45 age gap is most of the parents we're dealing with. And they get their news from social media. So, and from Facebook. So we're trying to get our Facebook going, keep you updated there on those things. We have the schools, Facebooks going, and so they're keeping up. They have some expectation about what to do. We haven't announced it yet really publicly, but we've rebranded the school system website. So schools are updating all that to keep that current. And we're just trying to get all the things out there for you to have what you need to know what's going on in the school system.
Good. So just a personal touch. What are you most excited about in this?
Well, I think there's 2 things. One thing I'm most excited about is what's going to happen here in August in McEwen. We're going to open up a brand new high school. That's a huge thing for the community. It's a huge thing for the school system. It's taken lots of things, lots of three directors, Coach Rollins, Mr. Rye, uh, me, have all been involved. And really, it's exciting to see that happen because that means a lot to everybody in the community. The second thing I'm most excited about is building a new school at White Elementary and Junior High. We've been dealing with FEMA, had a FEMA call last week. There's exciting progress on that. We're really making quick progress. And I think it's going to be really motivating. I hope that I get to sit there the one day and watch 1,000 kids pour into that school, brand new, have state-of-the-art school after everything that those kids that have went through after the flood. So I'm really excited about the two facilities we have coming.
So, what do you enjoy doing outside of work?
Well, outside of work, I don't really do much. Work is kind of like my hobby. I need to find a better hobby. That's really not a good answer, but that's really just how it goes. But my wife and I like to travel. We like to go to Disney and spend time with our kids and do that kind of stuff, and kind of take a step back away from this life and get to be a child, be a child, and go on vacation yourself. So we enjoy that, and I like to barbecue. And aside from that, I don't really have a lot. I'm a pretty boring guy, really.
That's okay. That's okay.
Right, that's me.
That's okay. Do you have a favorite quote or a piece?
Yeah, I think my favorite quote is "the man in the arena," because sometimes when I was principal, when I was a teacher, I could walk out of the hall, talk to other teachers, and discuss the concerns of the job, the positives, the negatives. When I was principal, I could pick up the phone, and I had Mr. Stuckey for a while, and then Mr. Crow came on this year at Waverly Central, and I could say, "Hey, how are you handling this? What are you doing?" And you had somebody right there. Your superintendent. I mean, we do talk to all the other superintendents, but it's a much more lonely position because nobody understands the intricacies of Humphreys County. They're dealing with their intricacies in their county, but every county has a little different setup. So the personal touch is a little bit different. So you're trying to seek out people, and not everybody that's your friend wants what's best for you. So you try to figure that out.
So, what message would you like to share with students, families, and staff as you begin the new school?
I guess the biggest message is that we're excited to have you come back to school, and we hope you're excited to come back to school. I'm the superintendent of schools, and I have anxiety about returning to school. My son, he gets anxiety about returning to school. It's normal to get a little anxious as school returns because you get back in those procedures, those habits, and you get nervous. New friends, new places. I can't, probably every child at McEwen High School, they're walking into a brand new school they haven't got to see yet. So we all get a little nervous about things as they come. Also, at some point, school should become challenging. And oftentimes, just from my experience, when school gets hard, sometimes people, want to find a different avenue. But the data that we receive, the information that we receive, I promise you, your children are getting the best education possible. And stick with the school system and, work through some of those challenges because sometimes I just get worried that we're raising a generation that when something gets difficult, that they oftentimes back down when that's really the time to dig in and try to persevere through things because that's really what life is about. And once you graduate school, jobs are challenging as well. Everything comes with a set of challenges and hurdles, and you got to try to overcome some things.
Well, Robbie, we thank Dr. Robbie.
Thank you.
We thank you for talking to us today. He's going to take us around the new building. Do you know when the old building is going to be demolished?
Well, I don't exactly know that, but probably the second or third week of August. They have to get the asbestos people in here to abate the asbestos. That should happen the first week of August. Once that's done, then this building will come down. It's already hot in here. Most of the things have been removed. All the furniture that people collected across the county has been moved, and so it's getting very close to coming down. They tell me by fall break, everything will be done. This building will be down. The parking lot will be paved. The whole project will be 100% complete.
For people that are my age and older, it's kind of sad for us because this was our life for so long, and we would drive by and see it, think about our kids being there, and now it's going to be torn down. So for us in the community, it's hard to see, but we are grateful that we've got a new school coming for our students and for Waverly as well. We look forward to see what education has for our community. I believe we are A1
Yes, and Mr. Wallace, principal here now, you know, one thing that's gonna happen a lot is the community's gonna want to see the school. And we wanna get the community in the school. Under, one thing though, that we're on a very tight timeline to get the kids to school.
Right.
So the community open house may happen after school starts. And so just understand that that's not intentional, it's just that we've run up on such a tight turnaround here.
That's okay.
But school will open on time and the kids will be in that school.
Thank you, Mr.
No problem.
We
Thank you.
appreciate it.